Hi, my name is Marcello and today we're going to answer questions about keys and key signatures. Why do we need key signatures and what they do? So stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe, give us a like and ask any question in a comment. I will answer them all. Let's start with this typical C major scale. Why is a typical C major scale? It's because it's the scale built on all the white keys. So this is a typical C major scale. All white keys. We don't play any of the black keys on it. So that is our typical C major scale. And it's a typical major scale too. Now, we need to try to find out why this is a major scale. And this is a major scale because of the structure it has. It looks like all the notes are at the same distance from each other, but they are not. And why is that? Because from C to D, as from here, we have one note in between. In England, we call it a tone, and in America, they call it a whole step. From D to E, like here to here, we have one note in between, so we also have a whole step or a tone. And then from E to F, here's where it becomes interesting. We have not a tone or a whole step, but a half step, or what we call in England semitone, because there is no note in between. Then we go back to F, the connection between F to G. Well, we have a note in between, so this is a whole step or a tone. As you can see, T for tone or WS for whole step. And then we have here a G to A, which is again one note in between, so this is a tone or whole step. And then from A to B, again another tone or whole step. We have this note in between, and from B to C we don't have anything in between, so this is a semitone. So we have this scale, which is called the major scale. This in particular is the C major scale because it starts with C. Okay, this is very interesting because now we can build the major scale anywhere. Or can we? We're going to have a look now. For example, I go and move everything up to G, and this is going to be the G major scale. So it's going to be something doesn't sound right, but I don't know what it is. It's something different from the major scale. We're going to try to discover what it is that is wrong here. Okay, from G to A, we have a tone or a whole step, which is right, that's what we want. From A to B, we have another tone because we have a note in between. That's very good, that's what we want. From B to C, we have a semitone, which is very good, that's what we want. So I don't see anything wrong. Why is it not sounding properly? We're just going to have a look. From C to D, there is a tone or a whole step, and there is a note in between, so it's fine. From D to E, there is a whole step or a tone, and from E to F is meant to be a whole step or a tone, but here we have a semitone. There's no note in between, so we need to change something here to make this wider. So we need to create a note in between, and to do that we're going to make this a bit bigger and add a sharp to it. So now I had a note in between, this one, this note in between. Now from F sharp to G we should have a half step or a semitone, which is what we have. So now we have this. And finally, it sounds as a proper major scale. And this one starts from G, so this is a G major scale. And now you wonder, why do we put symbols here in this side with sharps or flats sometimes? Okay, now since we have a G major scale, how about doing this? Putting the sharp at the beginning, so every time we play an F, we play a sharp. That's why we are using a key signature. Now let's go back to the C major scale. If we have here a C major scale, if I move this up to D, I can create the D major scale, just like that. It sounds completely different, doesn't it? This is even worse than before. We need to find out why. From here to here, we have a whole step or a tone, which is what we want, that note in between, very well. From here to here, we have a semitone instead of having a whole step or a tone. So we need to add something in between. How do we do that? We add a sharp to it, so we increase the gap between these two notes and we put one note in between, which is going to be this one. And now we're going to check from F sharp to G, we have a semitone, and that's what we want. That's very good. Now we're going to check the next note, which is G to A. From G to A we have a note in between, so this is a whole step or a tone, and that's what we want because it's there. Now from A to B we have a tone or a whole step because I have a note in between, and from B to C we should have a whole step or a tone, but we don't have it. We need something in between. We're going to put a sharp here, so we increase the gap between these two notes and we create a note in between. Now we have a tone or whole step, and now from here to here we have already a semitone. So that is sorted, and what we have now is the D major scale, and I know it's a D major because it complies with all the rule of the major scale, and I know it's a D major because it starts from D. And how about finding a way of saving me from having to write all the F's as C sharp? That's very simple. I put the sharps at the beginning here, and then I still have that all the F's and C are sharp. And that can be transferred to any other key, like for example A major. That requires 3 sharps, the F, the G and the C. So we cannot just transfer a scale to other key without adding sharps or flats. Okay, let's go back to the C major scale. Instead of going to a D or a G, we're going to go to an F and see what happens. So we're going to create the F major scale. So we have here an F major scale, or do we? We're going to check. Okay, this sounds a little bit strange, like Lydian. Now we're going to check why is it sounding so strange. Okay, from here to here we have a tone, which is very good. That's what we want. And we have a whole step or a tone, and I know that because I got a note in between. Then from here to here we have a whole step or a tone too. And that is what we want. From A to B we need a semitone or half step, but we have a tone or whole step. So we're going to create something to make this gap shorter. If I put a sharp here, for example, that's very good. I created a semitone or a half step, but here I have a G, and from G to the A sharp I don't have one note, I have two notes in between. So I say again, from G to B flat I have two notes in between. So that is not the solution for that. So I'm going to change that back to what it was before. And instead of increasing this note with a sharp, I'm going to decrease this one with a flat and see if that works. So now I have still a tone or whole step here, and here I have a semitone or half step. So here I'm fine, but let's see if that still works for the next note. For example, here we need a whole step, and voila, we have it. We have a whole step or tone. And then from here to here we have a tone, we have a note in between. From here to here we have another whole step, we have a note in between, and from here to here we have a half step and or a semitone, which is what we want. So we have this. So now we can also create major scale with flats. Sometimes we need flats, sometimes we need sharps. And now imagine if I have this and I want to save myself of having to write every single B flat. I do this and voila, I have, and all the B's are flat, so I don't need to write every single B flat. And now we can also create the B flat major scale, starting from B flat, and that has to be obviously flat, otherwise it's not going to be the B flat major scale, it's going to be the B major scale. So we put flat on the B, and from here to here we have a tone or whole step. We have whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, and half step. So we have the B flat major sorted. Oh, hang on a second, there is a problem here. We have that is a B natural. That has to be also a B flat. So we need to put it flat too, because this is a natural B and we need a B flat. So we have that flat now. So we have that all the B's and E's are flat. But this is the beauty of the key signatures. I can just do this and save myself of having to write flats here, here, and here. That's why we use key signatures, because we need to respect the structure of a major scale and all the derivatives of the major scales, like the minor scales. Please like the video and subscribe, and ask me any question on a comment, because YouTube is trying to discourage educational videos, so it's not pushing videos that are educational. So if you help me, we can make this channel a bit bigger. Thank you very much for listening. I'll see you next time.